After years of criticism, Kendall Jenner's career is being debated all over again, and fans aren't agreeing. For years, Kendall Jenner has faced the same question. Did she become a successful model because she was talented, or because she was born into the right family? It's a debate that refuses to disappear, and even in 2026, Kendall remains one of the most recognizable names in fashion. She's continued appearing at major fashion events, including the 2026 Met Gala and Milan Fashion Week, keeping herself firmly connected to the fashion world. But whenever Kendall's modeling career comes back into the spotlight, so does the criticism, and this is where the story gets complicated. Kendall was born into the Kardashian-Jenner family. Before she ever became a professional model, millions of people already knew her name through Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That gave her something most aspiring models don't have: visibility. She already had an enormous audience. She already had connections. And she already understood what it meant to live in front of cameras. So when Kendall entered modeling, critics immediately questioned whether she was receiving opportunities because of her family. The phrase "nepo baby" eventually became one of the most common labels attached to her career. And honestly, there's an important point behind the criticism. Kendall did have advantages. Pretending otherwise wouldn't tell the complete story. But here's where the debate becomes much more interesting. Getting an opportunity isn't the same thing as maintaining a career. Kendall began modeling as a teenager and eventually moved beyond commercial work into high fashion. Her breakout years came around 2014 and 2015, when she began walking major fashion weeks and appearing in international fashion campaigns and editorials. And suddenly, Kendall wasn't just a reality TV girl from a famous family. She was becoming a regular name in fashion. She has walked for major fashion houses, including Chanel, Givenchy, Fendi, Balmain, and others. That doesn't erase the advantage her family gave her, but it does make the story more complicated than simply saying she was famous, so everything was handed to her. Because fashion is an extremely competitive industry, and staying relevant for years requires more than getting one opportunity. That's one reason the Kendall Jenner debate continues to divide people. One side says her family name gave her an enormous head start. The other side argues that regardless of how she entered the industry, she still had to turn those opportunities into a long-running career. And then there's another part of the story people sometimes forget. Kendall has spent years dealing with criticism about her modeling. Even back in 2016, her career was being debated publicly by people inside the fashion world, with questions surrounding the rise of celebrity models like Kendall and Gigi Hadid. So this isn't a new controversy. It's something that has followed her for almost her entire modeling career. Yet Kendall kept going. And that may be the most interesting part, because today she isn't simply known for appearing on reality television. She's known internationally as a model, fashion personality, and celebrity. She's also developed business ventures outside modeling, giving her career another dimension. And her influence isn't limited to runway appearances. Her off-duty fashion has also continued generating attention. Recent 2026 coverage, for example, highlighted Kendall's embrace of relaxed, baggy denim as part of the wider shift away from skinny jeans. So where does that leave the debate? Maybe the answer isn't simply nepo baby or self-made. Maybe it's both. Kendall was absolutely born with advantages, but she also turned those advantages into a career that has lasted for more than a decade. And that's what makes the conversation so complicated. You don't have to pretend Kendall had the same starting point as an unknown model. She didn't. But you also can't ignore what happened after she got the opportunity. She kept working, she kept appearing, she kept adapting, and she remained part of the fashion conversation long after the initial excitement around her famous surname. So perhaps the better question isn't, did Kendall Jenner have an advantage? She clearly did. The more interesting question is, what did she do with it? And that's where fans will probably continue to disagree, because some will always see Kendall as the ultimate example of celebrity privilege entering fashion. Others will see a model who used an enormous opportunity and turned it into a lasting career. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. And that's exactly why the Kendall Jenner debate isn't going away anytime soon.